I had left town for a work retreat, expecting only a week away. My phone stayed off to disconnect, and I promised myself a peaceful break. When I returned home, the silence was unsettling. The house smelled faintly of herbed candles but otherwise felt abandoned. On the kitchen table lay a single envelope with my name in Mark's handwriting. My heart skipped as I picked it up. Inside, the letter began with apologies, carefully penned but heavy with emotion. Mark wrote that he had needed space and clarity. He explained that he had left town without telling me, needing to process his own confusion about our marriage and personal life. The words hit me hard. Confusion and fear mingled as I realized he hadn't vanished by accident. He had chosen to leave. Mark's letter reassured me that he was safe and that he cared about me deeply, but he couldn't stay in the house or relationship until he figured things out. I felt a mixture of anger and sorrow. Anger at being left in uncertainty and sorrow for the man I loved, now absent. For days, I combed through memories, conversations, and moments from our marriage, searching for clues I had overlooked. I debated calling friends and family, unsure whether I should reach out or wait for him to make contact. Mark had left instructions in the letter for practical matters: bills, pets, and our shared responsibilities. He hadn't abandoned life entirely. He had planned the departure carefully. I followed his instructions, feeling like a ghost in my own home. Each room held reminders of him, amplifying the emptiness. Friends tried to console me, offering advice, but I realized this was a journey I had to process personally. I journaled every day, pouring out fears, confusion, and reflections, trying to make sense of his sudden absence. The letter had hinted at personal growth, suggesting he needed solitude to confront issues he hadn't addressed in our marriage. I thought about the reasons why someone might leave temporarily, not out of malice but out of necessity for mental clarity. I decided to take care of myself, focusing on routines, work, and small joys to maintain stability. Weeks passed without word. Each day brought hope and anxiety, a strange tension between patience and worry. I revisited old photographs and mementos, seeking comfort in memories while bracing myself for an uncertain future. Neighbors noticed the change, checking in politely, reminding me that the world outside continued even when personal life felt chaotic. One evening, I reread Mark's letter and noticed subtle hints of his struggles: work stress, personal doubts, and questions about his purpose. It became clear that his departure wasn't a reflection of his feelings toward me, but a need for self-reflection. I started meditating and walking daily, trying to calm my mind and regain focus on my own emotional health. Then, a message appeared on my voicemail. It was Mark, his voice hesitant but relieved. He explained that he had been staying with a friend, processing emotions and decisions. Hearing his voice brought relief and tears. I realized that even in absence, connection persisted if approached with understanding. We arranged to meet in a neutral space, a cafe downtown, to discuss everything calmly. Mark apologized for the worry he had caused and explained his intentions to return only after gaining clarity for himself. I shared my perspective, the fear and loneliness of being left without explanation, and he listened without defensiveness. We discussed our marriage, our individual challenges, and the steps we needed to rebuild trust and communication. It became evident that temporary separation had been necessary for both our growth, even though it had been painful. We agreed on therapy, both individual and joint, to address personal struggles and improve our partnership. The letter, once a source of anxiety, became a reminder of honesty and intention even in difficult circumstances. Mark returned home slowly, respecting boundaries and allowing me to process the transition in my own time. Together we created new routines and agreements to prevent future unilateral decisions that could cause distress. We celebrated small victories, shared meals, walks, and honest conversations that rebuilt trust and emotional safety. I reflected on the experience, understanding that love sometimes requires space, patience, and clarity before reconnection. Mark and I established check-ins and shared responsibilities more consciously, ensuring that both voices were heard. Months later, the house felt like home again, filled with laughter, conversation, and renewed commitment. The absence had taught me resilience, patience, and the importance of boundaries in maintaining a healthy relationship. Mark's letter, once a symbol of loss, became a testament to reflection, honesty, and intentional communication. We planned future trips together, openly discussing expectations and emotional needs, avoiding assumptions. I realized that sudden absence can reveal underlying issues but also create opportunities for growth if approached mindfully. Mark and I continued therapy and maintained open channels, ensuring that difficult decisions were mutual and transparent. The memory of those 7 days reminded me that fear of abandonment can be overcome with dialogue and trust. I found gratitude in our reunion, acknowledging the courage it took for both of us to step back and reflect. We celebrated milestones gently, knowing that our relationship had strengthened through honesty and patience. The experience reshaped how we handled conflict, absence, and emotional transparency. By the end of the year, our bond was stronger, more resilient, and founded on trust, understanding, and mutual support. I looked at the house, once empty and silent, now filled with warmth and clarity, knowing that love had endured the test. Mark and I often recalled the letter, reflecting on how it had catalyzed growth and honest communication in our marriage. I realized that unexpected absence, while painful, can teach lessons about empathy, patience, and personal strength. We embraced the future cautiously but confidently, committed to a marriage built on clarity, trust, and intentional actions.